Skye from Sumo Cyco, and you're listening to The Dan Chan Show on Hard Rock Hell Radio.
Hey Skye, how's things?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm very good, very good. Thanks for asking. How's the pandemic been in Toronto and Canada in general?
Well, unfortunately, right now we're still in a major lockdown.
Oh, really?
The cases, unfortunately, are doing not so great right now. And we actually it got to the point where they've even banned bands from playing live streams because they don't even want bands getting into a room with their bandmates and a few camera people filming their live music, which is so crazy that we're still at this point. But thankfully I have a few family members that have been vaccinated already, so cool. Hopefully we're just turning the corner and trying to keep busy to keep distracted.
Of course. It's been a while since I was in Canada. I do miss a good Tim Hortons.
I was drinking them yesterday, actually. Yeah, you can't escape the Tim Hortons here in Canada.
It's been many years since I've been in Toronto, but I do love it. So you're releasing your third album, Initiation, on May the 7th. This is your third album. You're building a theme as you go with the dystopian Psycho City. Is it safe to say this is a concept album as such? And what are the themes behind it?
Yeah, so with every album we release, there's kind of like two trains of thought. There is the music, which is inspired by so many things from real life to, fantasy worlds to what's happening in my life to true events, just in general in the world. And then also there's this kind of alternate universe that we kind of go into, especially with the artwork and the music videos. And this is our world of Psycho City, where anything goes, and the fans kind of help create this world. And it's a lot of fun. This album's kind of themed a bit around what we call like these 4 factions of Psycho City, and we have this quiz on our website that you can kind of see which one you're best suited to or which one you belong to. And it's kind of like a fun almost comic book kind of narration that kind of plays through, where we keep fans guessing with Easter eggs in all of our videos and whatnot. Yeah,
I love that. I mean, do you think it would go any further with maybe comics or film or short series or something?
I would absolutely love to. There's so many cool ideas that I would really love to explore, in film, and also, like even the new technology with like NFTs. I thought it'd be really cool to make all of our characters like limited edition cards where you could like own a character from Psycho City and that becomes yours, So
that's really cool.
There's so many cool ideas. It's just about how many hours we have in the day, really.
Of course. Now, this album, it's been a long process getting this album out due to the pandemic, right?
Yeah, so there's been a few stops and starts. The actual original idea to start this record rolling happened in 2018, and we started to raise money with our fans in a crowdfunding campaign. And then we were fortunate enough to have a very busy year in 2019 with things like Download Festival and touring with bands like Ginger and our own headline tours. Yeah. And it just got so busy that we were like, okay, we have to push this back a little bit. And then that actually brought us the opportunity to work with Napalm. And then once we got the idea that maybe they would be interested and we would work out a deal with them, it kind of put things on hold again because we need to catch them up, get them up to all of our ideas and start working as a team. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, which changed everything again. So there was a lot of these moments of, okay, we're ready to release, and then something would happen and we would just be like, okay, not yet. So it gave us a few chances, actually, in a way, to make the record better, because we kept just writing more songs in between all these little moments and kind of just honing in, even perfecting even more what the record was going to be. And out of all of our records, this is the one that I think we've spent the most time kind of curating the songs for. And I think that it's really helped make the record a stronger piece of work.
Definitely. I mean, you guys love a good hook, right? It's earworm central. How is the writing process? You're mixing this heavy meets pop sound. Is it a simple process? Because it sounds fun to produce.
Yeah, so we write a lot of our music in our home studio, and my guitarist / co-writer and founder of the band, Matt Drake.
Yeah.
He's just like, one of these guys that can play any instrument, program anything, just producer extraordinaire on the computer. So he'll kind of get into his zone and come up with little kind of hooks and riffs and drum beats, and then he'll kind of like bounce ideas off of me. And primarily I would say I write about like 90% of like the lyrics and melodies.
Yeah.
And then Matt will come in and kind of give his 2 cents, and I'll kind of kick his ass and be like, hey, this riff needs to be played like 3 or 4 times more because that's a hooky riff. And, you know, we'll just kind of battle it out with each other until we both find that like perfect sweet spot compromise.
That's cool. That's cool. And you've just released the video for Vertigo. It looks like you have a ton of fun on your clips as well. I know we just touched upon the imagery and everything, but your videos are energetic and visually cool. And I believe you do them all in-house as well, right?
Yeah. So the visual aspect is also a really important part of our band. We like the idea of having kind of a consistency with all of our videos in the way that we kind of bring back these characters from Cyco City and have a little bit of a recurring storyline that kind of fades into the background behind all the really cool, fun imagery.
Yeah.
And film is something that Matt and I love. He is a massive film buff. He knows, like, so if you talk horror or action or sci-fi, he knows everything to know about it.
Yeah.
And we just love the idea of creating, on top of the fact that I think using this skill has really given us a little bit of I guess like an extra ace in our pocket.
Yeah.
For the fact that in this pandemic and in other situations, having the ability to just kind of make our own content without needing to, you know, hire out or to spend a lot of money to make a music video, you know, to take it under our own volition to just get it done and get more music videos done than most bands can achieve in one record cycle, I think is one of the things that we kind of take our pride in for ourselves. Yeah.
And you've got the free reign to do what you want then, haven't you, really?
100%. Yeah. It's been really great, especially working with Napalm, that they just kind of support what we are creating instead of, I've been in other situations where it's more of like a top down thing where it's like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, and this is how you should do it. And this way it's kind of like they're just coming underneath us and just giving us that little boost of being like, hey, we're going to help push you out this way and that way, but we're really just going to let you take the lead on the creative. And
that's cool.
That's exactly how I like it, because I'm a control freak. So if somebody tried to change it, I don't know how I would cope.
They're a great setup, Napalm, and they're going to get behind you 100%, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really great to have their support. I mean, even being a little bit of, I would say, like leaning a little bit in kind of different directions than maybe some of the more metal base of Napalm. I think that they've actually really embraced that and been really kind of supporters whenever there's been any kind of like situation where we've gotten either like trolls on the internet saying this or that. They've always been like, don't listen to them, just like stick to your guns, do what you do. And you know, you don't want those people that don't understand it. They're not going to get it anyway. You just have to keep putting yourself out. And as you kind of, you know, become a little bit in a bigger arena where you have a band like Napalm or have a label like Napalm pushing us out there, you know, you're going to cast a bigger net to kind of like a larger group of people, which is great because you're going to catch some people that are going to be great fans moving forward, but you're also going to catch a few people that are going to be like, what the heck is this? And I like being a polarizing band. I mean, I don't like being boring. So people love us, they hate us. That's cool with me.
Great. Everyone's got to have an opinion. Like ourselves, right?
Yeah, of course.
So focusing on you for a few moments, if you don't mind. You know, in the past life, for those that don't know, you've had quite a varied music career. From your solo career, you supported Britney Spears across Europe and the States. That must have been quite a cool tour, right? Some incredible venues and memories.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy that that's kind of like almost my first initiation, if you will, into touring.
That's something.
In a tour that was probably the... See what I did there? That was the, you know, one of the biggest tours of that year, you know, and to see like, you know, an entire crew of tour bus after tour bus on, you know, with one of the biggest artists in the world, it gave me a very quick crash course on how the industry works. And I take all those lessons with me and how I've been able to build Sumo Cyco up from the ground up. And, you know, it's weird that I can say that those experiences really have helped me so much in this completely different genre, but there are some things that always ring true across all entertaining. And there was things that I could take from watching Britney perform, and there was things that I can take from, you know, watching like small little punk bands in a a dive bar. There's things everywhere is a learning experience, and so I always try to soak everything in and just kind of be like, oh, why do people like this? Why do people like that?
Yeah.
And just kind of, navigate my own path through this crazy industry.
You've probably played some bigger venues than anyone in most of their rock career, It's crazy, isn't it? We don't get a chance to mention Britney on the show very often, as you can gather, but I have a lot of admiration for her. Do you feel sorry for what she's been going through lately?
Yeah, I do. I do feel like the industry kind of eats you up sometimes and is really can be a toxic place, especially if you aren't really in the right mind space to deal with all the kind of crazy publicity. And I'm sure that even if people imagine what it's like to live a life like hers, you just will never truly ever know what it's like to be under that amount of scrutiny. And one quick story that I'll just tell you is that I remember one day Britney wasn't feeling so well, and we got the kind of rumor was put in my ear that she might be canceling that night because she didn't know if she could perform. And I guess that rumor had spread to all the networks, and I literally had news reporters chasing me, trying to get the story, get the scoop, and the pressure. I was like a 15-year-old girl, and these news reporters were cornering me and just being and I'm trying to get through the crowd to get somewhere just to know what was going on. It was and that was just a small taste of what she deals with every single day. It was just insane. So, I feel for her so much, and I really hope she can figure out, a way to be free Britney.
We all do. So with all this in mind, let's go back a bit more. So you've been together for 10 years now as a band, I believe. How did the band get formed, and how did they get together?
So Matt and I actually met through playing together in those days, in the Britney days. So I hired him as a guitarist.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, as well as the bass player who I hired on. So these guys were local musicians in the town of Hamilton in Canada.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of auditioning local guys to be part of the band, and they kind of made the cut. And then we just hung out, on the road so much that I created these really meaningful relationships with them. They taught me a lot about music, and they were pretty much my friends. When I'm on these tours, I didn't have a peer group in my early teens. So they were the people that I would, hang out with and depend on. So we got really close. And then years later, as my career went on, I kind of lost touch a little bit. I was doing other things. And then one day I decided to kind of meet back up with Matt, and we just started catching up after not really seeing each other for a year. And he played me some music. And one of the bands he played me was Skin Dread. And I remember specifically having the light bulb go off in my head of this is what I need to do. I need to start a crazy rock band where I can dance and I can feel free to express myself in more extreme ways. And he was like, I'm down, let's do it. So from there, we kind of Sumo Cyco was born, and we've changed lineups a couple times in the last 10 years, but now we got Trozy on drums and Oscar on bass, and other two local musicians that we kind of had crossed paths with before. And it's been quite a wild ride.
I mean, you're so is metal side your rebellious side, or the real you? I mean, are you the real Jacqueline Hyde?
I mean, I feel like there's a part of me in everything I've ever done. I've always evolved. I do feel like sometimes I create a bit of an alter ego that lets me feel free to experiment in other types of things. For instance, when you go on stage and you kind of want to embody that kind of crazy rocker personality, sometimes it almost helps to kind of put on that character. But as the more I experiment with that character, I feel like that character kind of goes away, and you kind of let your own confidence kind of fill in that gap, and it just becomes a part of you. And I think that that's in a way kind of a good way to describe how you can kind of find yourself in certain ways. And I'm a big fan of reinventing myself. I love the idea of being able to put on a completely different outfit or change my hair color and try out acting different for a day, or try out doing things that you normally wouldn't do, and just try it on and almost kind of blame it on your other personality. But at the same time, it is a side of you that wants to
jump out,
go for those go for those little dares, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So what about the band name? Where did the band name originate from?
So there's kind of two stories to this. One is bandnamegenerator.com.
Right.
So naming a band is one of the hardest things.
Oh, I've done it before.
And coming up with an album cover.
I know.
It's like the hardest thing in the world. Yeah. And so when we started Sumo Cyco, I just had like this ongoing list of like random words and phrases and things that I thought might suit us. And it came down to the wire. We were playing our first show and I was like, I need to make a decision. So I looked at the paper. And a couple of these band names were from bandnamegenerator.com. Yeah. So I'm not sure which words came through the generator or came through my mind. But anyway, this page of tons of words. And I said, what describes our sound? Because that's what a great band name is. It kind of describes what you're about to listen to. And I was like, sumo, it's like big, in your face, can't miss it, heavy, powerful. And psycho, a little bit crazy, off the wall, unexpected, unpredictable. I'm like, okay, these are my words. And just kind of like jam them together. I liked finding also a phrase that was easily Googleable that no one else had. You could find us right away. And we were debating about the spelling of psycho, and Matt brought up like, oh yeah, suicidal tendencies used to spell it this way. I'm like, okay, we could do a homage to that. We'll sell it with the 4 letters. Has like sumo's 4 letters, psycho's like 4 letters. Perfect. And we just kind of like went with it. And even though there has been many times, I'll be honest with you, where we've said to each other, maybe we should change our band name. Like, it's kind of weird. Some people don't understand it. It's always just stuck. And every time I see someone with a tattoo of our band name, I'm like, how am I going to change it? This person has literally branded themselves with their band name. I can't change it now.
It's so funny. So what are your influences then yourself? What are your metal influences?
Well, I mean, I grew up with the boys on the bus kind of playing me like the Panteras of the world and Metallica. And I have a kind of cool story about Pantera, actually. I was at a really fancy dinner in France with the president of EMI in France. And we just kind of got to talking about music, and he told me his favorite band was Pantera. And he literally left this dinner and went across the street to the local Virgin Records and bought me the entire Pantera discography and brought it back to the table. Brilliant. Like within 30 minutes. It was like, you need to listen to this. And it was little moments like that throughout my kind of teen years where I was singing pop music that kind of always just intrigued me about like the darker, heavier music. And obviously being on tour with a bunch of guys who came from all different areas of the rock business and punk, and then to meet different producers along the way. I was able to work with Tim Armstrong from Rancid. I was able to work with Mark Hoppus and Matt Wilder, who did the Tragic Kingdom record, like so many other artists that I was kind of like so intrigued with this darker, heavier side. So it kind of seemed inevitable that I would start like a full-on like rock heavy metal band.
and you guys, the No Doubt of metal, right? I've heard that from somewhere.
Yeah, we're not scared of that. I've heard that a few times, and
I can hear it. I can hear it.
No Doubt is definitely a huge influence on us. I mean, I remember seeing Gwen perform Just a Girl and do 10 push-ups on the stage while she was singing, and I was like, I want to be that. I need that energy in my life. That is like the coolest thing. So yeah, definitely a huge inspiration there.
Sure. So what's on the horizon for shows in the future? Are there plans in the making?
We are in the behind the scenes time, kind of like feeling out what we can do, and fingers crossed with everything on vaccines rolling out that we'll be able to perform at the end of this year. So we're potentially planning some stuff for Europe and UK at the end of this year, but nothing I can officially announce. But we're working on it, guys. So everyone should be fingers crossed that we can fit it in before the next year.
So what new songs are you looking forward to playing live?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, every song. I'm just so, I'm just bubbling to play live. I just need to get out there. But yeah, I'm really excited about some of our new songs that we released recently. Bystander has been getting a lot of really great reception online.
I can't get that out of my head, I can't get that out of my head.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that'll go off like a rocket on the stage. Yeah. As well as our new single we're releasing called Bad News. It's one of my favorite songs. I jam-packed so many lyrics into this song, really laser fast speed. So
yeah.
to me, I'm like, let's get into the rehearsal studio and figure out how I'm going to pull this off, because I need this song to kick ass. And of course, like, I always make it a challenge for myself. So
So for those who haven't seen you, what's a Sumo Cyco show like?
the Sumo Cyco show is like getting your head ripped off by a cheerleader. It's
Wow.
like the most intense, fun, peppy, but yet like just like hard experience. And we pride ourselves in making it really interactive.
Yeah.
When I arrive at a venue, I don't look at the stage, I look at the entire room as what I have to work with.
Yeah,
So
cool.
you can see me up on the bar, you can see me, you know, hanging from anything that will support my weight, and even things that don't, because we've had those situations before where things just break. But yeah, we love to make those, you know, those guys at the back of the room with their arms crossed, kind of just like judgy eyes, turn into the guy
Exactly.
moshing in the front row.
That's
That's like our goal every single show, is how do we get people to come out of their shells and have like the best night of their week or month or year. Let's make it happen. So we always look at a crowd like a challenge in order to make those people have such a great time. Like, how do we make everyone have the most fun tonight?
Awesome. And who'd be your ideal touring partner?
Ooh, that's a tough question. So many cool bands out there. We were really, really close to doing a tour with Skindred in the States, but due to some visa issues last minute, it fell apart. So I've always wanted to get back on the road and do something, especially in UK with Skindred.
Great band.
Would be sick.
Yeah.
We could do our song Move Mountains together, and that would be like a complete dream come true.
Yeah.
I'd love for that to happen. But of course, I can dream big, and I'm a huge fan of supporting all the women that are leading the charge in the heavy space and rock and metal. And I, you know, love all bands from like, you know, In This Moment and Hailstorm all the way to some more up and comers like Nova Twins and Hands Off Gretel. So I am totally down with stacking a bill full with like some fierce females.
Cool. That'd be awesome. And this is a tough question. I always ask this, right? What one song from your 3 albums sums the band up the best?
Oh, tough questions coming at me hard.
There you go.
I'm going to hit you with, I think, you know, I would say Bystander. I brought that song up earlier, but I think that the reason why it's resonating so much is that we've been able to nail a hooky chorus, but at the same time make it really feel aggressive and new and fresh by, you know, combining our punk with our like heavy metal and the dance kind of elements in there all in one song. So I think that it really encapsulates like a lot of our energy in the same piece of work, where sometimes there's like a little bits and pieces scattered throughout different songs, whereas that one kind of puts it all together.
Yeah, cool. I agree. And finally, what's the most used emoji in your phone?
Let me look quickly. Oh my gosh. I think
Number 1.
it is the exploding emoji.
Oh, really? That's
so
about
it's
right.
like the one that's kind of like the exclamation, but it's just like a red orange like burst.
Yeah.
I don't know why I use that one all the time.
There you go. Well, Skye, thank you so much for joining me. Good luck with initiation and the shows, tours and festivals that follow.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking out the time to talk to us and spread the word about the band. It means a lot.